Welcome back. So now we reach module 1.3. In the last module, we have talked about how critical is to have the right mindset, to have the growth mindset, as it is a very important game changer. We have explained to you what is a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, as well as why we need to have the growth mindset. And of course, if you are a person like me, I'm going to ask you how I'm going to change, right? Mindset is something that is so highly or deeply reside in our mind. This is something in our subconscious level. It is something that it runs automatically at the background. It's just like the programming. You don't have to know how it works, but it will be run by itself. Like when you boot up a computer, it will automatically run the background programming. And here we know, same as our mind, this mindset itself is so highly and deeply embedded in our mind, and therefore, only with some structured and conscious effort, we can reprogram this subconscious level of thinking. So once we are successful to do it, then this new habit will overtake the previous old habit. And definitely, it only come to use when we can make this thing happen. Because otherwise, what you have learned remain as knowledge. And knowledge will not be useful unless you put into practice. And we talk about KSA, right? We need to turn knowledge into skill. And our attitude, which is our part of our mindset, will become the deciding factor. So in this submodule, we are going to share with you how to change this mindset using a structured understanding and practice. Module 1.3, develop a continuous reflection and learning habit. So there are three subtopics that we will go through in this part: awareness, acceptance, and action. So let's take a look at it one by one. Before that, let's recap what is a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that we have the capability, we are able to develop our new habit through dedication and effort. We believe once we put in the effort, we can turn the knowledge into a skill. We can change the old habit into the new habit. And it starts with awareness. And with the awareness, this is not enough. We need to accept. The acceptance itself will decide whether you want to take action against what you want to do, against what you know, how to turn knowledge into skill. This decision itself comes from awareness and acceptance before you can move into action. Now, these three steps, we summarize it in a way of called ABC of change. There are three ABC of change that I would like to share with you, which is easy for you to remember, which is easy for you to recall. The first ABC of change is awareness before change. Simply, we don't know what we do know. So if we don't know, how are we going to change, right? So awareness is the first step. This is the knowledge level. If we don't have the knowledge, we need to acquire the knowledge. If we don't know how to do it, we need to acquire the information how to do it. So that is the first thing, the awareness. Just like I'm not aware, I'm not good in certain things. So this awareness can come from feedback, can come from reading, can come from observing others. So awareness is the first step. When we have the reflection, when we see others doing, we reflect. Why someone can do better? Is it a better way compared to my way? This is the first step, awareness. So it comes in various forms as long as you get yourself to be aware of what is the one you want. And the next ABC of change is acceptance. For me, this is the most difficult part because sometimes we simply cannot accept. For example, when my boss tells me I'm an average performer, I'm not a leader, only a manager, how do I feel? Do I accept it? You know, I didn't. I can't. I felt it's not right. I am good. I'm excellent. So this acceptance is the first part. Maybe I'm sharing with you here some new idea, some new concept that you never heard before. But do you accept it that this is potentially some new way for you? Or you think, no, this is not going to work. I don't believe it. Well, this acceptance is always the challenging for some of the people like me because simply we are close-minded. Our mind has been fixed, and this is very critical if you want to change, especially in our behavioral and mindset. It's hard for us to accept when someone tells us we are no good. When someone says this is something you have done wrong, we try to justify. We try to say that we are not the culprit. We are the victim. So this is the thinking that we need to aware. And once we aware, we also need to accept I do have this type of thought. Or I like to avoid challenges. I like to see failure as something I want to avoid. Do I aware? If I aware, do I accept it? Or I still try to find things to justify. So try to recall which part of it is really the one that stop you from making a change. And of course, if you go through 1 and 2, then it's easy for you to bring the third one. The third one is actions bring change. Action can turn knowledge into skill. So now let's put these 3 steps again into a very structured way to help you to develop this change, the change of habit. So remember, the first one is awareness, and always remember, change begins with recognizing there is a need to change. And what are the things we can recognize? For example, our habitual action, our habitual thought pattern, and also what our limitation, what our blind spots. Usually, these are the things that we are so familiar with. Habits, something we do day in and day out. We don't even have to think about it. It is something already that we can do it without conscious effort. It is something like autopilot. Just like when you start driving a car, when you get into a car, you start to think, what's the first step? How do I move my gear? How do I release my clutch? These are the manual type of driving the car, right? So you need to consciously think about each of the steps. But once you get used to it, you just get into the car and start to drive. You don't even have to think. So that is already a subconscious effort. You don't have to put effort to think of each of the steps. The same thing, we do have certain limitation in our thought. But do we recognize it? Maybe each time I see something, I will feel I don't want to try. When I see challenges, I automatically try to avoid. This type of limitation is also something run subconsciously. And we judge things, we decided this person is not capable, we decided this thing is no good. All those limitations, this decision has been made. And only if we are aware, we can make a change. Well, we can go further into the type of awareness. First up, awareness, we say self-awareness. Self-awareness is about understanding your strengths, understanding where is your area for growth or improvement, where are the opportunities. You can tap on your strength so that you become stronger, but you also can grow in the area where you are not so strong so that you have a balance. So both are important. There are some people who believe focusing on the strength is the easiest way, but for me, I would encourage to find a balance. Yes, in the area that you are not good at, you need extra effort. And you don't have to become the expert, but it's good that you're aware of it so that you can find a balance. And self awareness is something that you can use to leverage on your strength so that you can use it more effectively, and then you can address your blind spot. You know where you are actually not good. For example, when I know I lack of certain capability, then I know I need to either ask for help or I need to grow myself in certain area. At this moment, I like to suggest you write down two strengths that you are proud of and maybe one area that you like to improve. Pause and take some time to reflect on this part. Leaders who know themselves well, they know how to align the task based on their strength as well as getting support for area that they are not so good at. Situational awareness. Situational awareness, for example, recognizing how you respond under pressure, how you respond to challenges, understanding your reaction and the way how you make decision under pressure or under stress is something also very important because leaders you make decision, especially you need to make even more critical decision under such a situation. What is your pattern of reaction? Do you observe? How do you face a situation like this? Do you fight against it? Or do you avoid it? Or you simply hesitate? You simply stop there and do nothing? What is your pattern? At this moment, pause again and think about the last challenge that you faced. Did you tackle it, face it, or you avoid it? Just stay there and do nothing. And why? What is the deeper reason for you to do it? Effective leaders, they stay calm. They are able to analyze, assess the facts, and choose the proactive responses. They are not, you might not able to make the perfect decision, but you make the best decision under the stress and pressure. Now, the last type, emotional awareness, recognizing feelings that influence our behavior. Actually, our mind trigger a lot of our action. Trigger in our mind is through our feeling, our emotional reaction towards the things, what we see or what we hear, is actually deciding the next series of action. For example, if we have a fixed mindset, we will have fear of failure. So when that feeling of fear of failure triggers, we start to say, I'm no good at this. Or we like to compare. Then we always feel lack of confidence. Other people are better than me. I should not try it because I might be commented by others. Or you like to self-criticize yourself. You criticize yourself as someone that is not capable. And if you are having this type of feelings, this type of emotional trigger inside our mind, then definitely it is hard for you to develop a growth mindset. Now, try to think about a situation where you felt stuck or you feel you are defending yourself and what type of emotional trigger you have. Is it fear? Is it fear of failure? Is it because a comparison? Or simply you are just self-criticizing? You are too critical to yourself. So if you have ready and you have finished with your self-awareness quick assessment exercise, now move on to step 2. Step 2, acceptance before change. Acceptance is acknowledging what is without judgment. A lot of time, we have a lot of judgment about things. We try to label this is good or this is bad. When we see something, when we hear something, we start to have the judgment. Someone is trying to criticize me. This is not fair to me. Well, acceptance doesn't mean that you have to agree. It also doesn't mean that you have to like it. But what it means, this is a reality. Someone is seeing me as not so good. Someone is seeing me that I have a gap to certain area. So, what does it mean? It will reduce our mental resistance. And remember, the change of attitude is the important game changer. To have the right attitude, this is the place to start. Because once we accept it, this is a step forward. Acceptance reduces mental resistance. It creates space for us, a space in our mind to think about growth opportunity. Rather than we think about justification to fight against it. Now, think of a recent challenge. Did you fight against it mentally? Or did you accept it first before taking action? Remember, acceptance doesn't mean agreement. Acceptance doesn't mean that you simply give up. But acceptance cool you down, open up your mind so that you can take the look at it in a more neutral, in a more calm way. So why acceptance matter? As mentioned, accepting your reality leads to clarity. You start to see the facts. When I accept that I have room for improvement, when I accept that my boss comment about me as an average manager, it is based on certain facts that he has observed. This is a reality that how he sees me. I start to think about how I can improve myself. So it reduces the emotional friction as well as preparing me to look forward. In fact, after that, I start to look into courses that I can develop myself. I ask for help from mentoring from people. I look into ways how do I build my own leadership capability. So that leads us to step number 3, actions. Action brings changes. Only with action we can reach from what we plan or what we want to what we achieve. Action turns our intention into reality. Without action, intention or whatever dream we have remains an idea, remain as a dream. Action shows commitment and it creates visible progress. And in fact, when I request for training, I request my boss to give me the opportunity to learn something. When I start to make progress, my boss really gave me a lot of support and opportunity. In fact, few years later, he promoted me to a level that I never expect. So, this is the action that brings changes. If I take a different action at that time, frankly speaking, I was thinking of leaving the company. And just because a mentor advised me to look inside, to look into what I should improve instead of putting all the blame to my boss, I decided with the awareness, with the acceptance, I take action. And remember, every action, even is a small action, as long as you do it consistently, it will create a big change and it builds our confidence. Now, before you move on to the next slide, I want to ask you, how many of you still have some goals, you still have some plan that you are thinking about it, that you are still hesitating to move forward? Well, if you do have, then try to move forward. Try to use these three ABC of change. So for the one goal that you have hesitated, for the one thing that you have been thinking for a long time, write it down and list some of the small steps or even one small step that you can take today so that you can move forward. It could be a small action, could be a 5 minutes action, but this will be create the first step momentum for you to move forward. Action transform intention and dream into reality, one step at a time. You might want to record this in the next step worksheet. So let's recap. Awareness unlock growth. The moment we see what we didn't know, it opened the door for change. We simply don't know what we do know. So once we open up our mind, this is the opportunity. With focus and determination, we can transform our old habit into new one. Of course, you say, or many people say, all habits die hard. Yes, it's true. It is so difficult to change an old habit, but it is not impossible to change. You need to put in effort. And when you put in enough effort, and when this new habit take root, they become second nature. They will replace your old habit and it become effortless for you to become successful. The ABC of change. It is something for you to consider to make changes in your life. Together with Dr. CD, they can transform your life. They can bring you to the next stage of success. Now, I hope you already have captured enough idea on what you have learned from this particular module. Please log it in, the key ideas from this module, as well as the next steps that you want to apply to your work. And here ends module 1, developing a growth mindset. So we have covered what is the growth mindset as well as why is it important and how to develop a growth mindset. Imagine if you can make a change. Imagine the dreams, the plan, the goal that you have been waiting to start for many years or months now will trigger a new change in your life. What will be it like? With this, you are now ready to step into the next module. Module 2 is about the path to becoming a leader. So we want to examine what are leaders and what type of leadership we have, how can become a successful leader, as well as what are the deeper causes to become a successful leader. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share here. See you in the next module. Happy practice and enjoy the change process that you are going to embark.